Right, good evening, everybody. I hope you can see me okay. I'm really, really excited to be doing this evening. As you can see, I'm with my three lovely friends there. We got Camilla, we got Michael, we got Ben, and we want to take the next 25, 30 minutes to share with you a fantastic opportunity. So the people that are joining me, they are six-figure earners in the business, but what we'd like to do is we want to give everybody the opportunity to log on. So for the next 60 seconds or so, just bear with us. We want to give everybody a chance to share the video. If you want to share it with somebody, if you want to tag somebody in, then please do. So that's what we're going to do very shortly. Let's just leave it for a few seconds and give everybody the opportunity to log on, and then I will tell you a little bit more about the opportunity and introduce my wonderful friends, and they're going to talk about the opportunity as well this evening. Okay, I can see we've got lots of people logging on, which is really, really exciting. Lots and lots of people logging on. Wow, the count's going up, guys, massively.
That's
Who's
brilliant.
excited? Oh yeah, the count is massively going up. Wow, I've just had a thing. We've had about 150 shares already, guys. So let's just give it time. We want to give, obviously, the people the opportunity to log on, share the video, tag a few people, because what we are going to share with you in the next 30 minutes, we believe, is a brand leader across the globe. So that's why we want to give it the opportunity for everybody this evening. I guess I can start because I can tell everybody a little bit about my background. If you don't know from a timeline, my name's Stuart Lake, and I have now been in the business for about 5 years, and I've had a fantastic journey, made some great friends along the way. So maybe you're looking at the industry for the first time this evening, and you know the next 30 minutes are going to give you that information. And what we want you to do is obviously go back to the person that maybe shared the video with you, has tagged you in this link this evening, and they can give you some more information after. This is literally to give you an overview of what we do. They say that network marketing finds you at the right time, and it certainly found Rebecca and me at the right time in 2012. The opportunity was shared with us, and literally within 45 minutes of seeing the opportunity, we had become business owners. You know, we were excited, maybe apprehensive, and maybe a little bit scared. But what we didn't realise at that point is we had an incredible team already in place who were going to mentor us to build a business. So my background was in transport. I built up a really good career in the transport industry. I had a really great relationship with my managing director and the chairman. I learned some great values about during those 14 years, but I always knew that I wanted probably more money and more time to enjoy life. So we started the business in 2012. By 2014, on the 25th of July, I was able to walk away from full-time employment, and that was such a great feeling because the biggest thing for me is I wanted to create time. I wanted to spend more time with my family, I wanted to spend more time with my children and spend more time with Rebecca. And I guess there's lots of people on the call tonight. You know, if you feel like that, you're craving the time, then this is definitely the business model that you want to be looking at. So network marketing really is about creating that time leverage. You know, when you first start out, yes, you will work hard. You know, perhaps you've heard some stories that it's really easy to make money in this industry. I promise you, from hearing from me and the other speakers tonight, we've worked extremely hard to achieve what we've wanted to do in the business. So without further ado, I want to introduce the first speaker this evening. I'll be coming back on in a little bit. We want to talk a little bit more about the structure of the business, tell you a little bit more about the history. You know, I'm really excited to get the next guy on. He's got a fantastic background. Originally, he's from the Armed Forces. He's worked at the NHS. But more recently, in the last 2 years, he has built an enormous brand on social media, and he has got a global following all over the world. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to mute myself and introduce you to Ben Colley. You there, Ben?
Yes, I am indeed. Well. Thank you very much, Stu. It's an absolute pleasure to be here speaking to you tonight. I just want to welcome everyone from around the world. There's a quarter of the world's countries listening into this live stream tonight, and to have 150 shares across social media, that's something I'm very passionate about within the first 30 seconds. Is absolutely incredible. So wherever you are on the four corners of the planet, I wish you 2017 is full of health and happiness. You may see that there's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek name. That was my trial name, Detox Benny, and that was purely because I've detoxified my life over the last 4 years. So if you see that, then that's just a bit of us having a bit of fun when we did our trial. Okay, let me talk a little bit about myself first of all. I started off life in the hospitality trade, did a couple of years in the hotel and catering industry. That wasn't really a fit for me, and I went into the military, joined the Grenadier Guards, and I worked up there to become a non-commissioned officer, and I served operationally around the world and also here in the United Kingdom. Ceremonial duties outside the palaces, Buckingham Palace, Tower of London, Windsor Castle and St James's. And that was a fabulous life as a young man, not in a relationship, but it certainly wasn't a life as a man in a relationship because you're always away. So as great as a single lad, but then when you had a wife and a family, it wasn't good. So I looked for something more stable and something back at home. And I looked for another uniformed profession. I joined the ambulance service here in the West Midlands. I did 10 years on frontline ambulances, both rapid response vehicles and the ambulances that you see racing around. And that job, again, was something I went into to help people. I got tied up in red tape, and it became more about targets and pressures. And I was quite often doing 14 hours a day, 12-hour shift, and we had to go in early for work to take over the vehicle. And then we often had a late job. So by the time that I commuted into work and back, that was often 14, 15 hours. I wasn't seeing my family, and we were in a desperate situation. My wife initially got involved in this business. I cannot claim any sort of fame in the fact that I saw it. From being military and from being on the ambulance service, a good day for me was a bad day for the patient. So I was very negative and I was very skeptical. And let me tell you, I thought work from home meant licking envelopes in the back room. I really did. I did not understand the concept of how working from home could provide us with complete and utter freedom. What Stuart's going to do now for us, he's going to show us some slides. So if we can have the first slide, please, Stu. We're going to talk about some of the reasons that different people have for getting involved in this type of industry. So let's have a look at some of the current challenges. And again, because we're in the personal recommendation business, it's about us having experiences and sharing those experiences with other people. I'm going to talk about my own personal experiences of each one of these 5 headings you can see here. The lack of job security. You know, the global workforce is shrinking. We're going to artificial intelligence and virtual reality, and the actual people being employed is shrinking everywhere across the globe as technology takes over. So even if you're in a job that you think is secure, like the ambulance service, I know there's certain aspects of the ambulance service, we used to fill in forms, for example, that all went to high tech, like iPads that you were like touching the screen. So that was transitioning in as I left. So that's something then that could be automated. And there was people losing jobs even in secure roles like the police, like the ambulance service, that you thought it was a job for life. So, you know, that was happening to us, and we were noticing that people were taking voluntary redundancies. Working longer, I've just explained to you there, I was working ridiculous hours. You know, I was at work and came home, shower, bed, up, work. There was no time for fun. There was no time for family. And it was extremely, extremely challenging because the high pressure nature of being on frontline ambulances meant that you dealt with a wide variety of emergency situations. And that was extremely taxing, to say the least. So then we've got the longer commutes because the global workforce is shrinking. And I mean, that's in the press all around us. That's non-negotiable. We understand that that is happening. People are having to travel further and further to get the kind of job that they're qualified for, they want. There is now one job for every 78 postgrads. So you can see there's a lots of people fighting for these jobs and having to travel greater and greater distances, losing time with their family and things that they actually like doing. Then we've got the pension options. And again, this is something I've got first-hand experience of. There was a massive overhaul just a few years ago in the NHS of the new pension scheme. And that really directly affected lots and lots of the new staff that were joining. They weren't going to be on any kind of the same sort of deal as us that have been in a little bit longer. And also the 2008 crash, where a lot of companies had invested the pensions in overseas countries and overseas accounts. A lot of those crashed and they were wiped out and they lost a lot. We only need to look at Rover in Birmingham. When Rover went to the wall, the company, loads of guys were left with absolutely nothing, having completed 30 and 40 years at that company. And then we talk about the holiday restrictions. And myself and my wife had the same job. So we were both working on the ambulances on the same rota. And we were told that if we were to have a holiday off together, because there was only one person allowed off at a time, we had to find the cover for that person to be off. And this was, if it was the height of the summer when the children were on school holidays, this was extremely challenging for us to find people that would actually want to work in the school holidays so that we could go on holiday. And again, with the nature of the job, this was another added stress. We were desperate, we were challenged, and we were looking for options. We were at the point, we were at breaking point. We weren't spending any time at all as a family unit. We were working all of the hours and we were really, really struggling. Next slide, please, Stu. So let's have a look at the background of the company that we all proudly work for. It's a fantastic company. It has nearly just touching now a $3 billion turnover. That's absolutely staggering in any stretch of the imagination. The income generating assets are over 1.5 billion. And these are properties all around the world. We've got some fabulous lodges, we've got some resorts, and we've got the head offices in the 160 countries that we operate in. So tonight we've got a quarter at least of those countries listening into this presentation that I'm extremely proud to be part of. We're cash rich and debt free. We do not owe any banks, any mortgages or any loans. You know, something else to be really proud of that underpins the business that we have. And we have UK sales now in excess of £100 million. This is not a small fry company. This is an absolute global health and wellness monolith. We've been in the UK now in this country since 1993, and we've grown in the majority of years in the majority of countries that we've been in since the business was founded by the gentleman you can see in the centre of the screen, Rex Morn, in 1978 over in the USA. Next slide, please, Stu. Let's have a look at some of the needs that we have in this modern era. Health. It's extremely important to me and my family to be healthy. Why? Because health is life. You know, if we haven't got our health, we're going to be bedridden, we're going to have no energy, and we're not going to be able to do the necessary things within our life that's going to provide us with happiness and with enjoyment. We want to have a better health for our family. We want to be them to be having the right foods and the right nutritional supplements so that they can also have high energy levels. And also we want to reduce stress. So people that were undergoing the kind, or people that are undergoing the kind of job role that I was in, 14, 15-hour days dealing with a wide variety of emergency situations, are extremely highly stressed. And we've all heard stress is one of the biggest killers. So it's attractive for people to have better health and less stress in this day and age. A lifestyle, people having more time, having time, you're not going to get more time. When the clock strikes 12, if you go around looking behind the gongs, you're not going to find another 5 minutes. That day is done, but more utilizable time, more usable time that you can actually start doing the things that you want to do rather than, traveling to work or sitting on a commuter train. New cars, maybe. Houses, options, I call them in life. Money gives us options. I'm not someone who pursues money. I pursue options. I like the travel and the experiences that I can share with my family. Then we've got the financial side. People want money. I was asked a great question a few years ago, and that was, how much am I going to be worth when I'm 65? And I was like, well, I'm going to be worth whatever my pension's worth. I just did not have any clue about money, savings, investment, nothing like that whatsoever. So, it really opened my eyes when I was coached in this. And of course, the pension, even if you've got a rock solid job, what is your pension going to be worth? And is that guaranteed? Or could you enjoy a plan B? And then we're talking about a vehicle. Some people love to help other people, like myself. I coach people now across, as Stuart said, many, many different countries, using social media as that platform, and this business sat as a vehicle on top of that platform. And working from home. As I previously mentioned to you, my interpretation of working from home was licking envelopes. I'm being honest with you. But the fact of the matter is, working from home now with technology that we've got can be extremely easy. If you're passionate about something, you want to make something work and spend time with your family doing the things that you love, there is no better time with the technology we have to be doing that right now. And also success. Lots and lots of us want to be successful. We love recognition. We love climbing the ladder. And with this amazing network marketing company, we actually get to climb the ladder by helping people. And I know from being in the job roles that I was in, normally you have to stand on people to get promoted. You have to stand out. You have to put people down. With this, you have to elevate people. So recognition, when I was in the military, sadly, some of my friends lost their lives, especially when the guys went over to Afghanistan after I left, and those guys would die for recognition, would die for one another. So that's certainly very important in people's minds too. And overall wealth. Wealth isn't just money. Wealth is life. Your whole aspects of your life. Success is a synergy of many different things, as is wealth. So we can really sort of build any one of those headings that you can see there within this company. Next slide, please, Stu. And I'm just going to touch on now the main areas of the business structures, the main areas that we find ourselves in terms of work in this day and age. The first one is we're an employee. And I was an employee in the ambulance service. And what I did was I decided I was going to agree with someone else's valuation of my worth. There was no risk. I turned up in the morning, finished my shift. I got paid their value of my time. And you would only get paid according to the time you put in. If you had something special coming up, such as a wedding or a holiday or some kind of new car experience you wanted, you had to do more work, which involved you doing more hours. So that is probably the worst situation to be in, where you're having to trade time, which is limited. You can only have 24 hours in a day, clearly, which is limited for someone else's value of what you are worth. And then we have self-employed. You can control your own income here. Yeah, you can charge what you like to a degree, and you can also do the hours that you like. However, my father-in-law is self-employed, and when he stops working to come and join us on holidays, he stops earning. So as soon as he stopped working, the money stops. So that is a really bad thing in regard to holidays, because a lot of people that are self-employed take fewer holidays because they're obviously losing more money. And then we have the investor, something I've been doing over the last few years. And yes, that can pay you a lovely residual income. However, we have low, medium and high risk investments, and there is a financial risk. I have lost money myself on investments I've made, so I can also talk from the heart about this. And then we have the employer. And the employer is going to earn money from others. They could be a company owner with lots of employees. But think of the stress if you're an employer. Yeah, you've got the headaches of doing or having people do all of your paperwork, having people that have got problems and challenges and they're going sick and all sorts of things. So you're never really stepping out of your business. You're too involved in it in the day-to-day workings of your business. So those are the different kinds of working environments and the different stresses and the plus points of those 4 key areas. And then we've got the 5th one, which is what we do, which is the recommendation business. And what Stuart's going to do for us now, Stuart's going to run through a little bit on how this process actually works so you can make some sense of it. So thank you very much for listening to me. I should join you at the end of this presentation. I'm going to hand you back over to Stu now, who's going to delve into the workings of the company. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ben. That was great. So we've talked a little bit about the history of the company, maybe some of the challenges that people are on the live feed tonight that you can see on screen. Maybe you're an employee, self-employed at the moment. But what we want to go through now is our business structure and tell you a little bit more how we build a business working alongside Forever Living Products. You know, step 1 of our business really is using the products. You know, when I joined the business back in 2012 alongside Rebecca, the first question we both asked ourselves was, would we use the products? And you know, let's be honest this evening, we hate being sold to, don't we? We hate being sold people trying to sell us products. So the first thing we had to do was use the products and see which products that we would really love, we would fall in love with, but obviously would improve our health at the same time. You know, we've got such a great product range that, you know, being honestly tonight, I probably used about 40 or 50% of the products, you know, and my customer base that I've generated over the last 5 years has literally come from the products that I have used, that have improved my health, that I've used down the gym. And you know what? That's how I've built my customer base. I've usually used the products and I've recommended them to people. So what are our marketplaces? It could be, do you know what? The weight management sector is absolutely, it's booming. You know, it's growing year on year. People are going to the gym. People are obviously more stricter with the diets. They want to spend more time exercising. You know, so we've got a great weight management program that we can offer people. We've got sports and nutrition. We've got personal care. We've got supplements. And we've even got male grooming, as you can see there. I'm sure we've got lots of guys listening in this evening. You know, the male grooming market is growing year on year, 8.4 billion just here in the UK. So I guess us guys in the UK are getting more vain by every day. But we've got different sectors. You know, some of you listening this evening might think, well, do you know what? I'd really like to work in the vitamins and supplement. I'd love to work in the weight management. Or do you know what? I'm a real great gym goer. I think I could, you know, find myself a few customers, try these products and build, you know, my customer base in the sports and nutrition. So we have got a huge potential marketplace. You know, the products are consumable as well. So, you know, we can use these products and your customers will stay with you. They are, as I said, consumable goods, so we can build a customer base quite quickly. I've touched on that grooming is booming. Now, when I show you this slide here, we spent 14.8 billion last year. And believe it or not, as I said, the UK is in the top 10 countries. You know, we've seen massive growth within this industry, and we've got a great product within the grooming sector as well. Weight management, I've sort of spoke about there. You know, we've got a great weight management program, starting right at the beginning with our C9 and finishing off with the Vital 5 there. If you're interested in that program, again, go back to the person that's maybe shared this live stream with you tonight or has tagged you in to watch for the next 25, 30 minutes. We've got lots of different ranges for you guys to try. So where we're going to find the customers, when I was starting the business with Rebecca back in 2012, again, the first questions we asked were, would we use the products and where were we going to find the customers? So naturally, the first point of call for both of us would have been people at work. You know, that's natural that you use the products. People begin to see a little bit different in your improvement in your health. So, you know, they ask you and you can do it based on recommendation. People at the school gates, I'm sure we've got lots of ladies listening in at the moment, maybe do the school run to and from work, so you can build your customers up there. You know, the people that you care about, your family, your friends, your relatives. And I've already touched on there where I built, you know, my customer base was people at the gym. So we have got customers all around us when you start the business. Okay, there's step 2, and obviously we want to talk about the income, so ways to get paid. So we start with step 1. We use the products because we want to know about the products. You want to be confident in using the products. But obviously, we want to show you a way of how you get paid by recommending these products as well. So when you start the business, you get 35% straight away wholesale to retail. And to keep it really simply for this evening, it means that if you retail £100 worth of products, you would make £35. Really, really simple. Okay, you might retail £1,000 worth of products in 1 month, which means you would make, £350. Now, I knew back in 2012 that £350 was going to make a huge difference to our monthly income. It was going to be the difference of whether we went out at the weekend, do those nice little extras that we love to do. But there is no pressure, there is no sales pitch with the business. And certainly tonight is not a sales pitch. This is just about to give you some information and tell you how to earn some money working with this brand leader. So you can build that up to 48%, which means, if you retail £100 worth of products, it means you would make £48. Now, I don't know any business that you can come in right at the beginning of starting a new business model where you can make a 35% profit straight away, and you can build that up to 48%. So step 1, use the products. Step 2 is using the products and then recommending those to people. Now, step 3 is what we call our team leading. Maybe you've done step 1, you've used the products, you build a customer base, so you're really confident with your product knowledge, and you're using the products and your customers are loving the products. Maybe you'd love to share the opportunity with people, because with Forever, what they're going to do is when you reach 48% on the marketing plan and you introduce somebody into the business, they're going to be earning 35%. It means that you get the potential to earn a team leading bonus of 13%. So Joe's really happy. He's retailing some products, and let's say Joe has retailed £1,000 worth of products. He's making £350, so he's really, really happy. But Forever Living Products are going to be paying you a 13% bonus as well of £130. Now, you're probably thinking, what am I getting for that £130? You've got to remember that Joe has come in like you did. He needs to learn about the product, so you're going to be coaching him how to do that. He's going to need coaching on how to recommend the products, and he's going to need help to go out and find his customers. And for doing that, Forever are going to reward you with this coaching bonus from 3% all the way up to 13%. So that's step 3. Step 1, use the products. Step 2, build your customer base and using the products. And step 3 is you begin to share the opportunity with people and coaching people to do steps 1 and 2. And Forever will pay you what we call a team leading bonus. As we move further on, when you get 48%, going to be looking at an income of around £15,000 to £20,000 per year. Now, I know that's getting on towards a full-time income, and you're going to hear from some other speakers this evening. We all started this business really part-time and got to the manager position part-time. So could you imagine having a part-time income that's going to pay £15,000, £20,000 a year? It's a fabulous opportunity to build a second income stream. And of course, if you wanted to be a senior manager in a business, that's you helping more people through the marketing plan. And something that's really prominent here is they begin to pay you a residual royalty style income. Now, that's something you need to speak to somebody who has shared the opportunity with you tonight, maybe tagged you in this live information evening, and that's something that they can speak to you in a little bit more detail after tonight has finished. Maybe you want to be a soaring manager in the business and earning £60,000 a year upwards, because this is an uncapped potential as well. That's not £60,000 a year that somebody's going to ring you in January and say, well done, this is what we're going to pay you this year. You have an uncapped potential to earn more than £60,000 a year. In fact, you're going to hear from 2 soaring managers really, really shortly about how they've built their business. So I'm a Sapphire manager in the business, and you can see the type of income there. We've helped 9 people reach that manager position on the marketing plan. Diamond manager, £200,000, and diamond manager, £350,000. And I've got to be honest, back in 2012, I sort of switched off at the soaring manager point. At £60,000 a year, my mind's ticking over, thinking, do you know what? That's more than double what I earn at the moment. You know, that's crazy, crazy, crazy income. So, you know, you can get excited, and I guess a few people might be able to relate to that this evening and think, do you know what? I'm never going to see £100,000 a year. I felt exactly the same back in 2012. But that is the income potential with our marketing plan, but you will need to get more details from the people that have maybe tagged and shared this video with you this evening. So what I'd love to do, we've got Chairman's Bonus. We've run a very, very exclusive profit share scheme with the companies. You can see on the screen there. Now, what Ben said at the very, very first slide is we're a family-owned company. We're not run by any banks or any investors. We do not own a penny to anybody. So what Rex does is he puts some of his turnover away every year, and he invests it in this Chairman's Bonus. Now, the great thing is you haven't got to be in the business for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years to be able to access this profit share scheme called Chairman's Bonus. In fact, you know, we've got people within our businesses, and you're going to hear from these people very shortly, that have qualified for this profit share scheme in year 1 and year 2 of their business. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand you over, and Camilla Ulysses is going to come online. She's building a fabulous business here in the UK and across the globe. Are you there, Camilla?
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Camilla Ulysses, and my background is in hairdressing, which I absolutely loved. I actually never envisioned myself doing anything but hairdressing. However, the time came for me to have my children, and my husband's an international DJ, which meant we were traveling the globe. We were living the summers in Ibiza, the winters in London, which actually meant I was unemployable because I was never in one country for long enough to be employed. So when I was offered this opportunity, I just saw the potential straight away, because I knew I could be my own boss. I could work it flexibly around my travels and around my family. But more than anything, I could also build a business in whatever country I was visiting or I was living at the time. So as a result of that, it's given me now a salary from 6 countries alongside my UK business, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And for me, what it means that as I have a fabulous team. It's like I say, it's given me this income from 6 countries, and I only really joined this business for an extra £200 to £400 a month. So to have this income is just incredible. We've had the most amazing experiences, myself and my family, more than anything. We've made the most amazing memories. We've been to Singapore, Mexico, South Africa, Greece. We've picked up over $40,000 in profit share checks, and that's on top of my 6-figure income. Now, coming from a hairdressing background with no previous experience or skills, this is just absolutely mind-blowing. So I'm so excited for 2017 because I'm now helping so many other people to achieve these amazing incentives. We've got people who want more time, maybe they want more income, pay off a little bit of debt. And the reason I'm able to do this is because this business is so duplicatable, and it's very, very simple. You just need to have a passion to learn. You have to be self-motivated, and believe me, if I can achieve these things with no experience, then anyone listening tonight can also. So it gives me great pleasure to hand you over to a good friend of mine, Lisa Williams, who's built an incredible business. So I'm going to pass you over now. Are you there, Lisa?
Sorry, little technical hitch there. Thank you very much, Camilla. Good evening, everybody. It's my absolute pleasure to be here with you all this evening. It's actually 3 years ago this month that I discovered this remarkable opportunity, which has just absolutely changed mine and my family's lives, and many, many people that we work with also. So my background is actually in retail, and I worked in retail for 15 years. I left school with no qualifications and didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. My husband was the breadwinner of our electrical contractor, and unfortunately, in 2012, his business fell under financial difficulty, which left us with a huge amount of debt. I actually ended up leaving my job in retail to work at home from his office to help him. But I discovered this incredible opportunity which ticked every single box for us as a family. I have to say, my husband in the early days wasn't supportive whatsoever. And he kind of laughed at me when I said I've found something that is going to change our lives. Now, inside, all I wanted to earn was £800 a month, because that's what I was earning in my retail job. I thought if we can bring that £800 back into the household, it would take a lot of pressure off. And we achieved that very, very quickly. You know, an extra £300 was coming in, and that was grown up to £800, and so on and so on. And it's my passion for the products. I began to fall in love with the products. I could see that they were working. I could see that people were enjoying them. And, you know, my business was built on the schoolyard. I didn't have a huge network at all. And I thought, where am I going to build my business? And the main place for me was literally on the schoolyard. And we've had so many people who joined the business and have created success from that schoolyard as well, which is absolutely incredible. You know, this business has given us everything. You know, I do now earn a 6-figure income, and we've also qualified for the profit share checks. In year 1, we got $5,000, and within year 2, that jumped to $93,000. So collectively, we've earned over $100,000, which, you know, that is life-changing. Never in a million years did I ever think it would happen to me, but I have worked extremely hard, I'm not going to lie. But when you're in a position where you've got an amazing opportunity and you just run with it and give it your all, this is what can happen. What I would say as well, though, is that, you know, everyone starts at the same place in this business, and we all have the same opportunity. And you've got choices, whether you're just looking for an additional £300 a month, or an extra full-time income, or a 6-figure income. Everyone starts at that same place, so it's entirely up to you what you want to do with it. We have a global business now. You know, I've just got my checks out here. We've just received checks from all over the world, from countries that I've never even visited. And this is the power, you know, of network marketing, and it's the, you know, the great opportunity that Forever have available to everyone. We have a company car plan incentive too, which we get our car paid for. And I'm just quickly going to wrap up. I do talk quite a bit once I get going. But I discovered something a few weeks ago when I was doing my end of year accounts. The company Forever paid me what would have taken me 26 years to earn in my retail job. And 26 years on, I would be 62 years old. So for me, what Forever has given me back just from last year is 26 years of my life back. So that is just incredible. So what I would say is, like Stuart said, get in touch with the person who has tagged you in this, shared this with you, because it can be absolutely incredible if you just run with it. So yes, thank you very much. So I'm now going to hand over to Kelly Colley, who is an incredible lady building an incredible business. She is a mummy and she is also a soaring manager within our business. So over to you, Kelly.
Good evening, everybody. I hope you can see and hear me okay. It's absolutely my pleasure to be able to share my journey with you tonight on this live call, which is really, really exciting. If you're listening tonight, then you should certainly take a look at this opportunity. It's made me want to join all over again. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about me and my background. So I was an ambulance service paramedic, and I did that for 18 and a half long years, believe it or not. I was absolutely, desperately unhappy, as a lot of people are, I think, working in the NHS nowadays. You know, you're overworked, definitely underpaid, and really not appreciated in the way that you should be. So I was looking for something else, but I just didn't know what I possibly could do. After getting assaulted again in 2012 at work, it just made me think that there's got to be more to life than what I was actually living. I didn't know what I could do. I'd only had one job since leaving school, so it's really hard to go into something else with no previous experience in anything apart from being a paramedic. And literally, forever found me. So what happened was, I just saw a random advert on Facebook from a random stranger. She wasn't even on my friends list. I'd never heard of the company. I'd never tried any of the products. I hadn't even heard of network marketing, which is just insane, as it's such a massive industry. But because I was just, you know, I didn't have anything to do that sort of industry, I'd never even heard of it. So what I did was I took a look at some information, very, very similar to what you're doing tonight. But I actually met this girl for a coffee in our local town. She showed me some information. I joined the same day. Some people probably will say that's naive, maybe a little bit stupid, but certainly it's very, very clever now, 4 years on. So I got started in the 2013 in January. So it's actually just been 4 years since I've been involved with this company. And my husband, you heard him speak earlier on, Ben, he was very, very sceptical, like he mentioned. And he was doing everything in his possible way to stop me from building this business. He was very unsupportive, as I say, very negative, negative towards the business, didn't think it was going to change our life, basically told me that I'd wasted my money in joining. But I tell you now, it's the best £199 I have ever spent in my whole life. This business has just completely changed our lives, from being really unhappy at work, both of us not seeing each other and definitely not seeing our daughter growing up. You know, I was the mum at work who didn't see my daughter walk for the first time or say mum for the first time. It was actually my friend who used to look after her for me. And these things you can't really replace. And working all those hours, 12 to 14 hour shifts, really took its toll on us as a family. So when I started Forever, as I said, Ben was very, very unsupportive. But after a few weeks of getting started, he started to see the potential, and that's when he decided to help me. And since that moment, it's just been incredible, because we've got two people who are both wanting to build a business and obviously working together and not polar opposites and charging like bulls at each other. So after 9 months of joining, both myself and Ben were able to give up our jobs on the ambulance service, and we literally just do this as our full-time job now. It's given us just amazing flexibility. You know, we get to go on holiday when we want, with who we want, and as many times as we want. Last year, we actually went away 17 times to different places all around the world. In the ambulance service, we could have only dreamed of that, to be honest. I think if we had one family holiday, that was lucky. Trying to get the same annual leave off at work was an absolute nightmare. So it's already, you know, given us everything that we possibly want. We get to travel the world for free. We get to meet some amazing people. The friendships I've formed since starting this business are just incredible. People that were strangers that I would never have met before, that I've become friends with on social media, are literally like best friends now, and I can't imagine life without them. It's just incredible, and you have to just grab a hold of it and run with it. As I said, it cost £199 for me to get started. I didn't actually join this business for money. What I actually joined for was time. So a lot of people don't actually join for the money, but it's something else that they're lacking in their life. For me, it was that time aspect. I actually did get told that, you know, if I built this business correctly in 2 to 5 years, that I would be earning a 6-figure income. Did I believe it at the time? No, I probably didn't, because I was just used to earning a bog standard wage on the ambulance service for working all the hours God sends. But it actually is true, and we do earn a 6-figure income, and it has been within 2 to 5 years. It was actually by year 2.5, because I grabbed hold of this business and just ran with it. It's also given me the freedom to do what I want, the amazing friendships, the self-development that I've come on has just been incredible. If someone would have asked me to do this 4 years ago, there is absolutely no way. I get up and stand on stage now, and I help to motivate other people in this business and help to, you know, get their businesses off the ground. I would never have done that either. So it's really, really, really made me a better person inside and out. As I say, it's given us choices, massive choices. I've been able to give my mum a job, a house, and also a car. We get to sponsor a child in Africa, go to school and help support him there. We also give to lots and lots of other charities out there, just because we are capable and we're able to now with the income that we're getting. So basically, have a listen, share this with people that you think might be interested, go back to the person that shared this with you, because it's really, really important that you connect with the people that tagged you in this post or shared it with you, because they thought highly enough of you to think that you could also do this business. What this opportunity is, as I said, it just changes lives. So why not you, and why not you now? Thank you for listening. I'm going to hand you back over to Ben.
Thank you very much, Cal. Hopefully you can hear me again. Then, cracking testimonial there from the wife who began the journey. I thought it'd be best that you heard from her as well. I'm going to finish off now, Stu. If we can have the last slide, last minute, guys. I really just want to. You can read the slides here. You know, I've spoke about the employment situation in certainly in the UK and globally, and there's a few quotes there as well. But I just want to ask you a couple of questions to leave you with tonight. The first one of those is, what is your plan B? You know, if you're in employment now, and as the Mail Online says, you know, a lot of the jobs are going to be gone in the next 10 years, what actually is your plan B? If you find yourself tomorrow morning when you go into work, the boss says to you, that's it, I'm sorry, you've got to go. What have you got in place? If you've got something in place, I commend you, you know, because I didn't have. And I think that this opportunity works brilliantly alongside a regular job that you can build. And then the second question I have to ask you is, why do you do what you do? There's only two answers. The first answer is you do it through passion. Hopefully you can tell in my voice I'm passionate about what I do. Absolutely love getting up every morning and sharing that time with my family and working and helping other people. But then the option number two is you do it for cash. You do it to keep a roof over your head. And I'm sorry to say, but that's a really sad existence if you go through that short time frame that you've got that's called working life, just 40 years, and you're doing it just to keep a roof over your head without any happiness, without any options. So I'm absolutely honoured to be the co-host this evening. As all of the speakers have said, please go back to the person that shared this with you. They'll be happy to answer your questions on what we've spoken about and go into a little bit more detail, and I'll let you go and enjoy your evening. Thanks from me and from Kelly. Good night.